Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of New York City. I want to introduce my good friend, former colleague, Bill Ritter,
Steve.
Anchor, WABC-TV 7. Hey, you guys, you've been on the air across the street. By the way, literally across the street.
I can see our studio, yeah, right there.
You really can.
Yeah, hi, guys.
Across the street at ABC for how long?
I started at ABC in November of 1992, so it'll be 24 years next month.
Where'd you come from before that?
Los Angeles. I grew up in Los Angeles, and then I worked there in television for 2.5 years, and then I went to San Diego State and stayed in San Diego for a long time. Worked for the LA Times. Started in television. I was 37 when I started in television.
Was New York the dream?
No, never thought I'd ever be in New York. No.
What?
Yeah, and then now, of course, all my friends say, "You're so in New York. Were you born here? Where were you born? Were you born in Brooklyn?"
Were you born? What? Queens?
Yeah,
Staten
right,
Island?
exactly. No, Los Angeles, the Valley.
So it really wasn't, I'm going to get to the #1 TV market.
I didn't want to be on television. I was a newspaper reporter, you know, ink-stained wretch and everything. And in fact, the first television offer I had, I told the guy, "No, thank you very much. I don't want to be on television."
You turned down television?
I did. I turned down television. And the only television experience I had was working on a PBS station. Go
ahead.
And I moderated. I was on one of those, you know, weekly news and review at the end of the week, and then I moderated several political debates. And someone saw me and said, you know, hey, we ought to do it. And I said no, though. It took about 2 months before we negotiated.
I'm curious about your college look. Can we take a look at Bill in college?
Yeah. A chick magnet, really.
That's you in college?
That was me in college. I was speaking. It was an anti-war protest at.
You were an activist.
I was an activist.
You did not have the look for, some say, television, classic television, right there.
You don't think that's that Jerry Rubin look is a good for television? You know, I guess I could have probably cut my hair if I wanted to do television.
You're born to be in this market and across this country. By the way, the ABC network piece, play that out too, because you not only are here in the #1 market by the way, it can be seen every night on ABC7, what time?
Channel 7, WABC-TV, 6 and 11. I anchor the 6 and 11 show.
With
Liz Cho at 6 and Shadi Badar-Noir at 11.
We're okay with plugging.
Okay.
We're looking at you, and
that's Liz.
Okay.
That's Liz. We've been the longest running anchor team in New York right now, and the only Jewish anchor team in the history of New York. As far as
really?
I know. Yeah.
That's impressive. And the network side?
November 1992, I started a show called Good Morning America Sunday, which now is Good Morning America on the weekends. Right. But we just were on Sunday at the time, and I think we were cleared in about 4 stations around the country. No, it was like nobody was watching, but it was really a fun and interesting experience. And then I worked also for GMA, and then I worked for 2020, and then slowly
GMA, Good Morning America.
Good Morning America. And then I worked for 2020, and slowly I started to work for WABC as they were looking for someone to perhaps replace the legendary Bill Butel. And so I worked 2 days a week WABC and 5 days a week at ABC, and that lasted about a year and a half.
I remember working with you in the early 2000s, right, as a political analyst there, and had a great time with you.
You were the political analyst. I was the anchor, and this is very strange, me answering questions from you. I'm used to asking you the questions.
Well, it was always a great time being with you because you're a good listener, great question asker, but I also noticed that you followed up as if you actually were paying attention to what was being asked.
What'd you say?
Oh, stop. See, I knew you were going to do that. But the other thing about you that always struck me is that you do have an obsession for understanding issues. And I'm not saying that's not...
It's not a bad thing, right?
It's a great thing.
Okay, good.
But I'm curious about this. When did you know that you had a fascination, not for broadcasting, because you made it clear, you turned down the first job. When did you know you were fascinated with complex issues? You
know, when I was active against the war, my sort of job, I found myself being the spokesperson for the organizations that I would work with. And I loved working with reporters. And I just found that their job was far more interesting, I thought, asking questions and sort of giving license to being curious. And giving license to asking questions that, you know, most people would say, hey, man, bug off, I'm not answering that. But when you're a reporter, people expect you to ask those questions. I expect any questions, I have no idea what you're going to ask me, but I'm ready for it, and you have an absolute right to do that. And when you're a reporter, it's like you're giving a stamp of approval to say, you can ask whatever you want. So do curious people go in naturally to reporting? I don't know. I think you have to be curious if you want to be a good journalist. There's no question about that.
Curious about the changes, the digital side of our business has changed dramatically. As a writer, behind the news is something you've been doing for a long time. How many years have you been doing that piece?
We did a blog. I did a blog called Behind the News, starting in the first of 2002. 2, I think.
Describe
right after
it.
the
Did you want to really people to see what was going on behind the news?
I want to talk about in more in-depth things. I think that the 9/11 attacks changed everything, and I wanted to have a more direct route of communication with our viewers. The Christmas right after 9/11, we opened up emails, and we do it to this day. Every Christmas, I anchor the morning show on Christmas, and we take in people's emails. I wanted to have that interaction, and I thought, well, let's do this blog. So I did it, and truth be told, I stopped the blog the beginning of June, this past June, because I think that, not that I didn't love it, and not that we didn't have lots of people who sort of miss it, and read it, but it changed. The digital social media part of this has changed, and Facebook and Twitter have overcome in popularity the concept of blogs. I think blogs are sort of last decade.
Really?
I do, and I know that there's a lot of blogosphere stuff in politics in your worlds, but I think for the general public, getting another email with my blog attached to it is just another email.
Well, we have you. Hold on. We have Bill's Twitter account up, right?
Oh, well, yeah, I'll tell you what it is. Bill Ritter 7, yeah.
But no, it hasn't. That's been up the whole time.
Okay.
What do you do with that?
I do more Facebook than I do Twitter, although we do Twitter with breaking news. But I take some of the things I did in the blog, which was analyze a top story or explain why we're doing something, or sometimes throw a stink bomb into the discussion and say, what do you think of this?
By the way, what's your Facebook?
Bill Ritter. Bill Ritter.
Bill Ritter. Okay, go to Bill Ritter. What goes on there?
I like to start conversations that get people going. I don't like the vitriol and the nastiness, especially when people don't put their names on it. And I say, let's keep it humane and calm and civil. But I do like to start the dialogue with people. I don't say, hey, I'm at, I'm on Steve's show right now. I will say some of that. I don't say I'm going to the park because I want to take a walk. I don't care about that stuff.
Substantive stuff.
I want to be, have it be a substantive forum. And I think so far we're doing that. So we talked a lot to our digital people, and they said, maybe it's time. And I agreed. And we switched everything over to Facebook. Speaking
of substantive, you're involved in some substantive causes. Talk about them.
When I first moved to New York, my father died a couple years later, several years later, and he got sick with Alzheimer's. And 2 weeks after I started at WABC, which was 6 or 7 years after I started at ABC, he died, and the Alzheimer's Association coincidentally asked me to host a walk, MC a walk here. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that. And since then, being a local anchor, you connect with these local organizations. And so I connect with the organizations that my family, I can relate to my parents with. My dad died of Alzheimer's. My mom died of lung cancer. I'm very active in a lung cancer association. They had a son who had severe disabilities, only lived 2 weeks. They became very involved in organizations for kids with disabilities. I now work since 1998 with YAI, the largest disabled services organization in the country. So I'm involved with organizations that allow me to stay close to my parents in some way. I feel like they're on my shoulder when I'm emceeing these events.
20 years plus before I let you out of here. Yeah. You still love this, don't you?
Oh yeah, I'm a lucky guy. There are so many people in New York and the tri-state, Steve, that get their only news from Channel 7 Eyewitness News. The only news. That's a huge responsibility. And, it's a big responsibility, and I take it seriously.
The rest of it they get from public broadcasting.
And then the rest they get from your show and the rest of PBS. That's right.
Good to see you, my old friend.
Nice to see you, Steve.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Be good.
Folks, this is One-on-One from the Tisch WNET studios. We're talking to interesting, fascinating people like my friend Bill Ritter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Health Network, County College of Morris, New Jersey Council of County Colleges, MD Advantage, activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge, TD Bank, and by PSE&G. Promotional support provided by Commerce Magazine and by New Jersey Monthly, the magazine of the Garden State, available at newsstands. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.